Hello, and welcome to Austin's Cello Studio, where I will be your teacher, Austin Cello. And today I will be teaching you how to do vibrato. So, what is vibrato and why is it important to cello playing? So, vibrato is essentially a movement that you do when you're pressing a note down. And by doing this movement, it creates a fluctuation in the pitch of the notes. That fluctuation changes the sound completely, making the sound much more resonant, deep, beautiful, and just so much better and interesting. So I will play a beautiful melody, first time without vibrato, and second time with vibrato, just so you can compare the differences. Bonus points if you know what that theme is and where it's from. Now here is the second version with vibrato. As you can hear, wow, what a big difference. So, now that we got that out of the way, and we can clearly see and hear that vibrato just makes it just makes your cello sound so much better and so much more epic. Let's dive deep into it and learn how to do it. So, step number 1. We're going to learn the very basic of this technique, and that is just the hand shape and the movement of the motion. So, hand shape. What you're going to do is you're going to grab your left hand, and then you're going to create the letter C, like this. Notice how the thumb is slightly curved, but not too much, okay? Just slightly. Very important is you want to try not to engage the thumb when you vibrate. You want to keep this thumb muscle here nice and relaxed. Easier said than done. Now that you got your basic hand shape, let's talk about the basic movement and the motion to create vibrato. So, you're going to pretend that you're grabbing a doorknob, like this, a round doorknob, and pretend you're opening the door, like that. Do it a couple more times, and try it faster, and faster. That is it. That is the motion of vibrato. The only difference is obviously you don't do it here, because we don't play cello here. You do it on the side. This little exercise you can do anywhere. You can do before you practice cello. You can do it, I don't know, in the washroom, in the car, right? Anywhere is possible to do this little exercise. Now that you got step 1 out of the way, it's time to move on to step number 2. So step number 2 is, well, we're going to start playing on the cello. So, C shape. Pick the first note, which is the first finger. I like to start on a D string. D string is a safe string to start, okay? It's not too hard because, as you'll soon find out, some strings are harder than others to vibrate. So let's start on a D string. We're going to press the first finger. Let's play the note E. Okay, now, we're going to have to exaggerate the motion because this is a brand new technique, okay? Your muscle is not used to it, right? So you want to kind of like program that motion into your muscles and let your brain and muscle learn it. So go very slow and very exaggerated, like so. Now, a couple couple very, very important tips to follow here. The first tip is, let me roll my sleeves up just a little bit so you can see it better. The wrist here. A very common mistake is beginners, they rotate the wrist by itself. By doing that, it creates a very unnatural motion. It looks really weird, okay? You want to actually pretend your wrist doesn't exist. And this is just bone, completely bone. I know it's kind of disturbing to imagine that, but trust me, it helps. So if this is bone, right, you won't be able to do this anymore. So you're going to have to do this, right, using your forearm and the hand and the wrist rotating together, with forearm, wrist, and hand together. That is very important. Number two, that's very important, is your fingers here. So you're pressing this note down because you're playing that note. What do you do with these other three fingers? Well, the answer is you want to try to keep it in the most natural state. So close to the first finger, like this, all right? Not like this, not like this. Keep it close by. Now we're going to move on to the second finger and teach you how to vibrate the second finger properly. So the second finger. Press down the note by itself with the second finger, like this. Your other fingers, keep it close. And again, in what I call the natural state. So not like this, not like this, like this. You're going to do the same exercise, extremely slow. Now we're going to move on to the third finger. The third finger is slightly different than the first and the second. Reason why is because your third finger here, it's very awkward, right? It's not as nimble as others. It's also much weaker. So for the third finger, you want to help it out with a stronger finger. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the third finger and then the second finger and press down the string at the same time, like this. These other two fingers, same rule. Don't stick it up. Don't put it down. Keep it close by in a natural form. And then you're going to practice it slowly, just like the rest. Now, we're going to get to the hardest finger to vibrate. It's the most awkward and uncomfortable one. It is the fourth finger, or the pinky. The pinky is, as you can see, is the shortest finger on your hand, and it's also extremely weak. So same concept, you want to press the pinky down alongside with another finger, in this case with the neighboring finger, the third finger. So it'll be these two fingers pressing down, like so. These two fingers, again, not up, not down, natural state, like this. And now you're going to vibrate slowly. This one you will need the most work on for sure. It is the hardest and most awkward. Now that we got the very basics down, we can go on to the next step. Step number 3. Only go to this step once you're very comfortable with this big exaggerated motion, super slow on every single finger and every single string. So step number 3 is where you're going to grab a metronome. And I'm going to go quickly grab my metronome right there. Give me 1 second. The teacher will be right back. And teacher is back. All right, great. So any metronome would work, right? think the best working one would be something that is from the app on a cell phone, because you can very fine tune exactly what number we want to do versus those traditional ones where it's the tick, 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 right? And you gotta wind it up when it's out of battery, right? So I would prefer using the app on the phone, but whatever works for you, okay? But you will need a metronome for this. So it's time to build speed. And I like to build the speed up slowly, and for two very, very important reasons. First reason is, well, we don't want to jump straight to the fast speed of vibrato because your technique is still not quite there yet. So if you jump that fast, it's just not going to work that well. You're going to be struggling, and posture is probably going to be not so good. So generally speaking, not a very good idea. Reason number two. Well, later on, once you do master vibrato and you apply the pieces and you're playing some hard pieces and you're getting expressive, right, in the pieces, you're going to start realizing that not every single note you want to use the same type of vibrato. There are notes where you want to use slow vibrato. There might be notes where you want to use faster vibrato. So again, I'll give you a quick example, right? If I'm playing something more beautiful, you know, like I probably don't want my vibrato speed to be too crazy fast, but if I'm starting a very powerful piece, a very powerful concerto, then my vibrato speed will be much faster, right? Just to create that intense sound. By practicing every single speed all the way up, you will have mastered every single speed on the way up. So that's the reason why I like this metronome practice. Now let's get to it. So again, grab a metronome and start slow. Now you don't have to start right at, you know, the crazy slow speed that we did in the previous step, but start around 100. Okay, if 100 is a bit too fast for you still, go a little bit slower. But I think 100 is a pretty safe spot to start. So 100. Now, you're going to treat these as eighth notes. Okay, so when you're falling forward, that's 1/8 note. Falling back, that's another eighth note. So basically one time motion like this per beat. We're going to start with the first finger. So what I like to do is do 4 beats per bow, at minimum 2 bows per finger. Do more, obviously, if that finger is struggling and it's not good. Okay? So again, I'll do it one more time. Now you're going to do to the other fingers too. Same exercise. All the previous rules apply here as well. So that means good hand shape. Don't engage the wrist like this, right? Using the forearm, wrist, and hand as one motion. Okay? And don't squeeze the thumb. After you're very good at the speed that you're currently at, which is 100, and you did it for every single finger, every single string, you're going to speed it up. Now, we do not need to go up by every single click, because that would just take you forever, right? And frankly speaking, it's not necessary. I like to tell my students to go up by tens. So you're going to go from 100 and jump to speed 110. And I'm going to show you on another string this time, and I'm going to show you on the C string. There's a good chance to talk about C string because it is the hardest string to vibrate. It's the most awkward. And why is that? Well, for two reasons, right? It's the furthest string away for this hand because our cello is actually shaped slightly round. So this string is a little bit further away. Number two is because it's a thick string. It's a very thick string, so it just requires a little bit extra work to get it to work. So because it's very far away, what we want to do is actually have our arms just slightly higher than the strings, just to help your other fingers out a little bit. Your thumb, so a very common mistake I see is some students put their thumb more to this side of the cello. So you can see my little thumb sticking out here, yeah? That actually doesn't really help you. I like to put my thumb slightly closer on the other side. No, obviously not to the point where it's, coming out here. It should still be in the back of the neck of the cello, but just slightly more on that side. Just so it helps, again, with your hand reaching over here. Like that. All the previous rules apply here as well. So you're going from 100, increase speed by 10s. What is the final speed for this exercise? The answer to that is 250. 250. Very fast and very scary sounding number. Yes, but don't worry, if you take it step by step, it is very achievable. So let me just crank this metronome up right now to 250. And then we're going to give it a shot. So this is 250. Yikes. Super fast. All right. So this is what it'll look like, and this is what it will sound like. I'm going to pick a string that we haven't covered yet. Let's do G string. Once you're able to hit 250 for every single string, can't talk. Once you're able to hit 250 for every single finger, every single string, you can move on to the final stage of the exercise, and it is to apply it to a scale. This is the final stage. Applying it to a scale. You're going to grab any scale, but we're going to start with the easiest one, C major scale. 2 octaves. And your job is to vibrate at 250, because by now you should have been able to hit 250 before you touch this exercise. You're going to go for 250, and you're going to vibrate every single finger. Bonus challenge. Try not to stop the finger vibrating whenever you change a note. That is a very common mistake I see in beginners who are learning vibrato. Do not stop the finger. So let me show you a quick example what is the problem with that. So here it goes. So see that when I stop vibrating, right, the note goes from with vibrato, it sounds very luscious and full, but suddenly it just becomes very flat, right? And it just doesn't sound that good. Which is understandable at first, because again, it is actually quite challenging to keep vibratoing while changing finger, which is why we're using this exercise. Now, let's hear it once where it's continuous vibrato. Now, with continuous vibrato, the sound stays luscious and stays the same, stays consistent throughout, which sounds much better. Easier said than done, but try your best. Keep practicing it. I promise you it will happen one day, okay? Keep doing the scale practice with the vibrato, 2 octaves. After that, with C major scale, you can apply for any other scale, okay? So choose your favorite scales, choose the harder scales even, right? To really challenge yourself. Next thing you should start doing once you hit the stage is try to apply vibrato to whatever piece you're currently learning. So how I would approach it is I'll start vibrating only the very long notes first. So whole notes and half notes. Once you're good at that and you feel comfortable vibrating those type of note values in your piece, whatever piece you're working on, then you can challenge yourself and push it to the next level, which is start vibrating those quarter notes as well. One little final tip that I forgot to mention much earlier is where should your thumb be when you're vibrating, especially for the third and a fourth finger. I see quite often as well as a mistake for beginners. They kind of like to put the thumb too far out here in the back and they try to vibrate these back two fingers. It's very hard. It's very hard, okay? Because there's too many what I call contact points. So if there's too many contact points, it's too stable, all right? Because vibrato, remember, we want to have this rotating motion. So I like to think of it as almost like a teeter-totter, right? So if this is a teeter-totter in the playground, it works by having one thing or pillar in the middle, right? That way, it can rotate like this. However, if I add another pillar here, it's not going to move. It's just too stable. So the same idea when you're vibrating, don't put your thumb out here. Whatever finger you're vibrating, keep the thumb close to it. So if I'm vibrating the first finger, it'll look like this in the back. Third finger will look more like this. Sorry, I said it wrong. Second finger will be like this. Third finger will be like this. And fourth finger will also be somewhat like this as well. All right? So also keep that in mind. I forgot to mention it much earlier. Okay, so this concludes the first lesson for vibrato. There will be a part 2 later on once we get to the even more advanced stuff, which is 4th position, 5th position, and then finally thumb position, which we will cover in a future episode. So happy practicing, keep practicing hard. And if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And please let me know your thoughts and questions, whatever you want, in the comments below. And yeah, happy practicing. Bye-bye.